Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. I go by Me on the internet and this is my crafty space. Hi, hello, and welcome everybody. So today's video is a little bit different from what I normally do here on the channel. Normally I make friendship bracelets, but in today's video I will be showing you guys how I made this lovely pair of earrings. Now I do want to preface this by saying that this video is not a tutorial. I do not know how to make these beads. I will just be showing you guys how we made them. And how they're kind of put together. So this video is a bit more educational, I guess, than tutorial based. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Okay guys, so before we start making the bead, we need to prep our skewer, and that's basically what we're going to be making the bead onto. So to do that, I'm just going to be dipping that skewer in this sort of mud substance, which basically helps the bead come off later. Now both the skewer and the mud are heat resistant, which makes sure that they don't get ruined under the heat, because we are going to be using heat to make the bead to melt the glass. So yeah, that's basically what I'm doing here. Is I'm just dipping that skewer into this mud type substance, and then we're just gonna let that dry before we use that to make the bead. So yeah, let's start making our beads. So to make our beads, we first need to turn on the flame. Now this flame is connected to a fuel tank, and that is basically how it works and turns on. And my grandma is just adjusting it here to the size that she wants it to be. Now it is important to mention that we are wearing safety glasses to make sure that the flame does not hurt our eyes. I'm going to be trying to replicate this earring right here. Earrings are notoriously hard to replicate because you need to have the earring be the same, the two beads of the earrings be the same size as each other, and also have the same pattern, which is quite difficult to do. So she's going to be taking that skewer that we made. Now this one is quite old, so it's been sitting there for a while, so she's just wiping that dust off of it. And now we're just looking at the colors to make sure they match with the colors that we have on the earring. And yeah, so we're going to be heating this up, this piece of glass. Now these glasses are specially made to be doing this, so that's why they are kind of long. And she's just heating that up. Now you need to be quite careful when heating these up, because if you heat them up too fast, they will fly everywhere, and that is also one of the reasons that we are wearing glasses, to protect our eyes from little shards of glass as well. And now what she's doing, which you can't really see here in the clip, but later on I'll show other clips of her doing this, is basically she's just letting that glass kind of come off into the skewer, and she's twisting that skewer to make sure the glass doesn't just like fall down into a blob, and making sure that she's kind of always looking at it to be the right size. So now she's just looking at it and making sure it's the size that she wants it to be. She also needs to take into consideration those little dots that were on the earring, because those will add a little bit of size to that bead. So it's quite tricky. Now also in our glasses, I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but we can't actually see those red flames. We can only see blue flames. So when I look back at this footage, I was quite surprised that you could actually see red flames, because I couldn't see them when I was there in person. Now she's going to just heat up this other color, which she's going to use to make the dots. Also with this, you need to be quite careful and make sure you heat it up nice and slowly so it doesn't go flying everywhere. And trust me, that's not fun when it happens, especially when you're sitting right next to it. She's just going to be heating that up, and she wants to make sure that the other bead, which she just took out of the flame, is not too far away from the flame and it doesn't cool down, because if it does, the same thing will happen where it will just go flying everywhere. It'll just break and go flying. And she's just making those dots, so you can just see her put down a little dot and then pull that piece of glass, and that just makes these nice little dots, which you can see on the earring. Now to make these earrings, it actually took us about 8 earrings. We made about 8 beads of the exact same pattern, and only 2 of them actually matched each other. So out of 8, only 2 of them matched, and none of them matched our original earring, which was actually a bit disappointing. Yeah, that just shows how hard it is to make earrings. So right here, she is just kind of like adjusting the size of the bead and making sure it's nice and center. Yeah, that's basically how we make these beads. I just sit there and watch, but she makes them, and you can see right here in this footage that you can't actually see the color of the bead, and that is quite funny because you can never see the color. It's always quite red, and then only once you take it out later you can actually find out if you like the color combination or not. So yeah, that's quite interesting. So once she's finished the bead, she'll just put this in this weird kind of sand thing. I'm not quite sure what's in it, but it cools down the bead slowly to make sure that the glass doesn't crack and break. And yeah, that's basically it for making a bead. I will speed up some footage of us making some other beads, but yeah, I'll meet you guys back here when I'm actually making the earring itself. These are all the beads we ended up making, and here we're just taking them out of the sand a couple hours later after they've all cooled down. And yeah, some of them didn't turn out perfect. Some of them are kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but they kind of like fell down. You can see it on this bead right here where one end is a bit lower than the other. And that happens when the bead doesn't cool down properly, or when it's placed into the sand kind of badly, I guess. But you can see the beads on the side, which are the ones that we made for the earring, and the beads right now that you're seeing are the ones we made with the stamps, and they look kind of like flying saucers or like lollipops, I guess, which is kind of cool in my opinion. But yeah, we just need to take them off of their sticks and wash them a bit, and then they'll be ready for using them. So yeah, let's do that now. So to take the beads off of the stick, all we're going to do is we're going to hold one side with pliers to make sure that that stick doesn't move around, and with the other side we're just going to move that bead back and forth and kind of like wiggle it off of the stick, and it usually just comes off quite easy, and then we're just going to wash them. Okay guys, so I'm going to start putting together my earrings. So to do that, I'm going to be using this bead at the end, which basically you can kind of squish it to keep it in place. I kind of forgot what they're called, but I will put the name on screen if I remember. And I'm going to also be using these sort of like accent bead kind of things on the sides of the bead, which I think gave the bead a really nice shape, and it also kind of holds the bead in place since these beads are a little bit crooked. And I'm just going to be trying on a bunch of accent beads, but I did cut out some of that footage because I think it's kind of long and a bit boring. And now I'm just going to be putting the earrings together. So basically to do that, I'm going to use the same wire for both of the earrings, and I'm just going to be placing both of the beads on both sides of the earrings and just building with that, so I can basically measure out the length that I want the earring to be without having to measure out the length first and then cut it. I can just cut the length that I want this way a lot easier. And here I'm using another earring for kind of like a template, I guess, for how long to cut my beads. And here I'm just cutting the earrings to length. And I'm using these little things on the sides to kind of give me a little loop to connect my earring piece to. So that's what I'm just doing here, and you want to make sure you press that nice and tight, because the earring will like slide off if it's not tight enough, which you really don't want to happen. And I'm just going to be cutting off that little part at the end of the earring, so it'll just sit there really nicely. And here I'm just connecting the earring to basically the earring that we just made, and that's it, we're finished. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I certainly did. I've actually been holding this footage for quite some time because I really didn't know how I wanted to edit this or explain anything here. So I really do hope you guys enjoyed this. And yeah, if you guys did, please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really appreciate you for watching till the end, and bye guys!